Good evening. Tonight we are going to be talking about the dwelling place of the Holy God. So you can turn in your Bibles to 2 Chronicles chapter 3. We're going to be doing somewhat of a comparison between the temple, which would be Solomon's temple, and also our bodies. So the temple, Solomon's temple, back then, they estimate approximately, to put it in our dollar value today, it's probably worth about $30 million. All the gold, all the silver, etc. And that was the place where God dwelt. How much effort should we put into keeping our heart and body the place where God dwells holy? 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20 reads, "What, know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you, which ye have of God, and ye are not your own? For ye are bought with a price, therefore glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's." I'm going to do a fair amount of reading of the temple. Hope you can stick with me. And I'm not going to cover everything on the temple, so don't worry, because we could be here for a long, long time. So we're going to read 2 Chronicles chapter 3, verses 1 through 11 for now. Then Solomon began to build the house of the Lord at Jerusalem in Mount Moriah, where the Lord appeared unto David his father, and the place that David had prepared, and the threshing floor of Onan the Jebusite. And he began to build in the 2nd day of the 2nd month in the 4th year of his reign. Now these are the things wherein Solomon was instructed for the building of the house of God. The length by cubits after the first measure was 60 cubits, and the breadth 20 cubits. And the porch that was in the front of the house, the length of it was according to the breadth of the house, 20 cubits, and the height was 120, and he overlaid it within with pure gold. And the greater house he sealed with fir tree, which he overlaid with fine gold, and set thereon palm trees and chains. And he garnished the house with precious stones of beauty, and the gold was gold of Parvaim. He overlaid also the house, the beams, the posts, and the walls thereof, and the doors thereof with gold, and engraved cherubims of the wall on the walls. And he made the most holy house. The length thereof was according to the breadth of the house, 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 20 cubits. And he overlaid it with fine gold, amounting to 600 talents. And the weight of the nails was 50 shekels of gold, and he overlaid the upper chambers with gold. And in the most holy house he made 2 cherubims of image work, and overlaid them with gold. And the wings of the cherubims were 20 cubits long, and one wing of one cherub was 5 cubits, reaching to the wall of the house, and the other wing was likewise 5 cubits, reaching to the wing of the other cherub. Now we're going to read chapter 4, starting at verse 6, and read to the end of the chapter. And he made also 10 lavers, and put 5 on the right hand and 5 on the left, to wash in them. Much things as they offered for the burnt offering, they washed in them, but the sea was for the priests to wash in. And he made 10 candlesticks of gold according to their form, and set them in the temple, 5 on the right hand and 5 on the left. And he made also 10 tables, and placed them in the temple, 5 on the right side and 5 on the left. He made 100 basins of gold. Furthermore, he made the court of the priests and the great court, and doors before the court and overlaid the doors of them with brass. And he set the sea on the right side of the east end over against the south. And Huram made the posts and the shovels and the basins, and Huram finished the work that he was to make for King Solomon for the house of God, to wit, the 2 pillars and the pommels and the chapters which were on the top of the 2 pillars, and the 2 wreaths to cover the 2 pommels and the chapters which were on the top of the pillars, and 400 pomegranates on 2 wreaths, 2 rows of pomegranates on each wreath, to cover the 2 pommels of the chapters which were upon the pillars. He made also bases and lavers made he upon the bases. 1 sea and 12 oxen under it. The pots also, and the shovels, and the flesh hooks, and all their instruments did Huram his father make to King Solomon for the house of the Lord of bright brass. In the plain of Jordan did the king cast them, and the clay ground between Succoth and Zerediath. Thus Solomon made all these vessels in great abundance, for the weight of the brass could not be found out. And Solomon made all the vessels that were for the house of God, the gold altar also, and the tables whereon the shewbread was set. Moreover, the candlesticks with their lamps, that they should burn after the manner before the oracle of pure gold. And the flowers and the lamps and the tongs made he of gold, and that perfect gold, and the snuffers and the basins and the spoons and the censers of pure gold, and the entry of the house, and the inner doors thereof for the most holy place, and the doors of the houses of the temple were of gold. Now, I'm going to try to translate some of the measurements over into feet and inches so that it makes a little bit more sense. We can grasp a little bit more how big the temple actually was. Solomon's temple was not the largest temple. Herod's temple was actually the largest. And some of my measurements might be off a little bit, so just bear with me on that. So based upon a cubit being 18 inches, the temple was 90 feet long by 30 feet wide and 200 feet high at the highest point. There were 2 pillars in front of the temple. They were almost 5 3/4 inches. They were almost 5 3/4 feet in diameter, 52.5 feet tall, and 4 fingers thick. The one on the right side was named Jaquin, meaning he establishes. And the thought I had on the meaning of that was the beginning. And then also the one on the left, the pillar on the left, was named Boaz, meaning swiftness. And my thought when I read swiftness was swift judgment by God, or the end. And if you put the 2 together, that's the beginning and the end. And I just thought that was really interesting. The porch in front of the temple was 30 feet long and 12 feet deep. And then the measurements for the first main room in the temple was 60 feet long by 30 feet wide and 45 feet high. And the measurements for the Holy of Holies was 30 feet long, 30 feet wide, and 30 feet high, and overlaid in 600 talents of gold. The cherubims over the Ark of the Covenant were 15 feet tall with 2 wings. They were 7.5 feet long. And it comes out to where, if you do the math on the wings, one wing would stretch to the one corner, and then the other wing would stretch to the other cherubim's wing. So therefore the whole wall would be completely covered. The amount of work that went into the temple, and if you I want to read more about this. I got to think. 2 Kings chapter 3, I believe it is. Nope. 1 Kings chapter 6. Kind of starts in actually 1 Kings chapter 5, and then it goes through 6. But anyways, there's some details in there as well. So the labor that went into it, Solomon hired some of the work out, but he drafted 30,000 men, and they would work for 1 month, and then they would come home and be at home for 2 months, and then they'd go back again. So it's 10,000 they would be working per month, and then the other 20,000 were resting. And there was 70,000 burden bearers, 80,000 stone cutters, 3,300 chief officers who were over the work. And if you add that all together, that comes out to 21,300 plus men that built the temple in only 7 years. And I also found, I didn't realize this, but in 2010, apparently, a replica of the temple was built in Brazil. And the cost for that came out to be $300 million. So if we look at the temple, Solomon's temple, you can see a lot of wealth. You can see a lot of greatness. But also, don't look at the dollar value on it. Picture with me the holiness of this place. Especially, like, picture yourself in the Holy of Holies. In a 30 by 30 room, 30 feet high, completely overlaid in gold. Everything's gold. And then also picture the fragrance within the temple, because there would have been certain spices that they would have used. It's just so amazing. And the question I have is, where is God's temple today? And maybe I should rephrase that a little bit. Where does God dwell today? In our hearts. Is our heart that pure like Solomon's temple? What do people see when they look at us? Do they see a pure and holy person, or what are they seeing? I'm going to go down here through kind of taking a look at how people could view us. Obviously, some people don't know us very well. So like from a distance, they're going to have a different view of us. They're not going to see everything that your brother or sister would see. So starting at, if you kind of think about it as entering the temple. So we're going to start from a distance. You're walking down the street. Somebody sees you from across the road. And oftentimes when you see somebody, you kind of get a feeling for like what type of person that is. Sometimes you're not right, sometimes you're wrong, but what do they see? What do you see when you see somebody walking down the street? What do you see in somebody that would determine good or bad?
Well, it depends how close you are. You see their facial expression.
Do they look peaceful or do they look hateful? What else do you see?
Can oftentimes tell whether they're drunk or not.
Their actions? What about by the way they're dressed or were dressed? Do we dress like we are a temple of God or do we dress like the world? So getting a little closer, let's say we're sitting at a restaurant. Someone sees us across the room. They don't know you very well, but they're at a little bit closer range, maybe hearing distance. What can they pick up from us in the same room, but yet not knowing us?
Your language.
What are we talking about? What about the way we respond? Maybe your child's not feeling very well and they just threw up their whole dinner. Did you yell at them or did you help clean up the mess? What about tattoos and piercings? I don't think any of us have those, but there's a reason why people have them. They speak volumes. And oftentimes, there's probably more people seeing us and reading our body language than we realize. So what about an acquaintance? Somebody that sees us but yet doesn't know us like a friend, like you spend an evening at a guest volleyball together. You're with them for the night, but then you may never see them again.
Sometimes I tend to notice the friends that they have,
Mm-hmm.
people they hang out with.
Yeah.
Probably get some idea of how they treated some people versus how they treated other people.
Mm-hmm. If they're casting judgment on people. What attitudes they have. Are they proud? Are they pride? Are they proud? Or are they selfish? Or are they loving and kind? And some of these are, you may pick up on them at a different stage, but I just had to label them in a category. Now, what about a friend? What does a friend see in us? Someone that you see often.
Failure.
They see what your faults are.
But I don't think it should stay there. We need to be willing to admit it.
They can also see they can see the things that you're good at as well.
So if it is a friend, you can tell they care about you. If they don't care about you, they might not be your friend. Or they might be. It's up to you.
One thing I wrote down for a friend, what a friend can see in us. I think a friend can see how we view ourselves. And you might wonder why I put that down. But how much self-worth do we have? Somebody that doesn't have a lot of self-worth, I don't think isn't gonna take care of their body or the temple, the dwelling place of God. If you view yourself as a dying flower, why would you try to save yourself? Okay, that was stated wrong. If you view yourself as a dying flower, you're not going to try to preserve that flower. If you view yourself as a blossoming flower, you're going to nurture it and try to make it bloom. For example, what about hygiene? That's something very common. Everybody's human. We need showers. If we value ourselves, we're going to take a shower. Are we taking care of our health and our well-being? Some of the things that go along with our health, what about overeating? Are we making our bodies work extra hard when it's not necessary? What about smoking? That's hard on our bodies. Another one I thought of was rest. How much rest do we get? Our bodies need rest to recover from the work we do. What are some other things that friends can see in us?
Often they have some idea what
Fears? Yeah. And with that, what do we put our trust in? Another one I put down is the places we go and the things we buy. What does family see in us? We're getting a little closer now.
Potential.
I like that.
They see who we truly are.
What about what drives us in life? What is our passions? Is it work? Is it play? What makes us tick? And are those things that should be honoring and glorifying to God? Any more?
It depends how close you are together as a family, but probably they see in you what they are. Because you do become, basically, the people that are around you, you become like them, if you're close. Hopefully, I mean, if you're good friends anyhow, you're gonna do things that they appreciate. Now, when it comes to food, that might be another scenario. Some people like something that isn't even good, but other people like it's good. So it depends what your taste buds are. But normally, as a family, you know what each other likes, and things go together.
I have one more category on my list. And that category is you. What do you see in yourself? Now don't go and try to twist the truth. What do you see in yourself? What do I do that no one else can see? What do I do that no one else can see? And are those things glorifying to God? Are those things that should be in the temple of God? What is in the holy room of your heart? Everybody has a holy room in their heart. And what is on that throne? I have something on my throne. You have something on your throne. What is that? When you went into the Holy of Holies in Solomon's temple, the Ark of the Covenant was there, and that was where God dwelt. Do we have God on our throne? Matthew 22, verse 37 says, Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. That's with our whole body. Do we love God with our whole bodies? And are we taking care of our temples, our bodies, in a way that would be honoring and glorifying to God? And when people look at us, can they see God through us? Anybody else have any more comments or thoughts?
Sin is a theological problem. We don't remember, believe, we don't care about the fact that God knows everything about us. One drawback to the scribes and Pharisees was that they cleaned up the outside and looked like they were righteous. Full of all kinds of iniquity. Paul also wrote some things about that, telling us from his experience as one of those Pharisees. He thought he was all right until he realized the law said, do not come. He moved to deal with his inner desires, what he really wanted. So maybe one other thing concerned about other people's evaluation of us, or other people's opinion of us, or we're just trying to be cleaned up for them, then who is really in that holy room? Who is really on the throne? If we're not concerned about what God thinks, it isn't God who's there.
Yeah. Thank you for stating that. Are there any other thoughts? All right, if not, that's all I have.